Hey everyone! It's been quite a while since I last did a pen pal with me video, so I thought it would be a good time to share with you what I'll be sending to my sister in this next pen pal, as well as share 5 different items that you can include in your pen pals. You can of course pick and choose however many ideas from this video to include in your pen pals, or you can always keep it simple with a handwritten letter. Either way, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'm jumping right into the first idea, which is this artist trading card, or ATC. This is something that my sister and I have been doing for years, where we'll paint a little painting to include in each of our pen pals, and we'll collect them like you would with traditional trading cards. I started off by lightly sketching the shapes for the painting in pencil. In the past, I've used acrylic, gouache, and watercolor paints depending on what mood I was in or the theme that I was doing. Today I'm using watercolors, which is typically my preferred choice when it comes to these ATCs. I'm using the 12 color Winsor & Newton Cotman watercolor palette, as well as a Pentel Vistage water brush. I've been much preferring a smaller palette like this one lately, as it's just been much more portable and less overwhelming than the larger palette that I have from White Nights. For my ATC, I decided to paint some watermelon slices, as I thought it would be perfect for summer, and I wanted to paint something bright and vibrant. I did use a reference photo for this painting, which definitely made my life so much easier. I'm starting off with the wet on wet technique just to lay down light blotches of color as a base. As the layers dry, I go in and gradually build up the layers to the preferred opacity and contrast. I love making these ATCs, and they're one of my favorite things to include in a pen pal because it allows me an opportunity to express my creativity through painting. I also find it easy to approach since the size is so small, so it's not a huge commitment, and it's much less daunting compared if you were to try and paint on a larger piece of paper or in a sketchbook. It's also been such a fun way to document our painting journeys and see how much we've improved on our techniques over the years. My sister and I each have a card collection binder that houses each other's ATCs, and it's always such a joy to flip through it and look back on all the little paintings that she's made for me. Now that the ATC is complete, the second idea is for all of you fountain pen lovers out there. I've gathered a few ink samples from my collection to send to my sister to try out. A couple of them she had requested to try, while the rest are some that I've picked out that I think she'll enjoy. LAMY's Benitoite, which is a soft, deep blue. Sailor's Ink Studio 735, a warm purple with green sheen. Diamine Winter Spice, a deep brown also with a green sheen. Robert Oster's Crystal Marine, a shimmering and sheening turquoise. Pilot Iroshizuku's Kiri is a light gray. Sailor Manyo Aka-Mai is a soft, muted reddish gray. Diamine Autumn Oak, which is a shading burnt orange. Wearingeul's Tinkerbell, a soft, shimmering green. And finally, de Atramentis Heliogen Green Gold, a vibrant, shimmering green. These last 3 inks, as you can see, the sample bottles are pretty much empty, which I'll be refilling from my recently acquired full-sized bottles. The de Atramentis ink sample was for the green copper iteration, but I'll be refilling it with the green gold version, which just has gold shimmers instead of copper for anyone wondering. Sharing ink samples is such a fun way to not only try out new inks, but to also share your favorite inks with the people in your life. I'm really looking forward to hearing what she thinks about these samples and which ones end up being her favorites. The third idea is to pass a coloring page back and forth. This is a sheet that I cut out from this Coco Wyo Hygge Place coloring book for anyone that's curious. I'm also just using two colors for my portion of the coloring page today, which are the Cloud Blue and Cool Gray 2-4 shades of the Ohuhu alcohol markers. With this, then we just pass the same page back and forth and we color in one object on the page at a time until the whole page is colored in. It's a very quick yet fun activity which you can both take part in together. And it's always so much fun getting to see how the image progresses over time since it doesn't get all colored in at once. You can use a page from any coloring book you have or print one out and you can use any material to color the page in. The last coloring page that my sister and I did, we used a bunch of different materials to color the page in, which ended up looking so interesting and unique with all the different textures. So I highly recommend giving this idea a try if you're looking for something new to incorporate in your pen pal. This next idea is perhaps my favorite one out of the list, and it has to do with this little notebook that we've also been sending back and forth over the past few pen pals. Of course, you can use any notebook for this. The one that we've been using is the slim Midori MD notebook with light graph pages. And before I get to what's inside, one thing that we do with this notebook is to add a new sticker to the cover each time we receive it, which is what I'm doing first. I thought this cute little succulent sticker would be fun this time. Now that that part's done, time to move on to what's inside. So the way that we've been using this started off with someone writing down a journal prompt for the other person to answer. The receiver would respond and also write down a new journal prompt on the next page, send it back, and now the new receiver would answer their previous journal prompt, respond to the new one from the sender, and then come up with a new prompt. And the cycle repeats. I hope that that makes sense. But I've been really enjoying this activity since it gives us an opportunity to ask each other questions we otherwise probably wouldn't think to ask each other when we're texting or talking on the phone. It allows us to stop and think about a question we're genuinely curious to know about one another and allow the other person to journal about it. It's such a sweet and fun way to document a conversation between two people, and I'm really excited to fill it up together. And idea number 5 is to simply send some little gifts that reminded you of that person. For this example, I picked up a few souvenirs while I was away visiting our brother a couple months ago, such as this delicious mini candle set. They smelled so amazing and I thought the packaging was so adorable. I saw these socks and immediately thought of my sister and her sweet little gray kitty. And of course, this cute mini thermos in this dusty coral color, which was absolutely irresistible. Lastly, I'm finishing off this pen pal with a handwritten letter, which ultimately is really all you need for it to be a pen pal. You definitely don't have to make your pen pals super fancy or have them include a bunch of other items. At the end of the day, a handwritten letter can be enough to make someone's day and be a thoughtful way to surprise someone. And that's what really matters. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. And let me know if you have a pen pal and if there are any specific items that you like to send them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.